Thank you very much, Mpo. Thank you very much to the listeners and the viewers of the Newsroom Africa. First of all, let me explain that in general, we have what we call African or maybe Zulu standing rituals and customs, but they differ from family to family. Now, at this time, as you know, the hierarchy in our society, particularly amongst Africans, we have the king, we have Izinduna, which is now today represented by mayors, councils, and so on. Now, why am I saying that? Because if you're talking about the king, the monarchy, now the rituals, yes, the traditional, normal, standard rituals will be performed, but they might differ because he is actually a king. Let me give an example. For instance, in our African society, an ordinary person on the street, if he passes away or he dies, what normally happens is we shut down all labor work. Those who are in the fields doing some plowing, whatever the case may be, that gets stopped immediately, because it's not only that family that mourns, but it is the whole society or the whole community. Now, what we have to expect here is that I understand that there is a meeting today, a huge family meeting, where Inkosi Buthelezi actually will be part of that. They might actually come up with particular rituals. Now, if you look into the time between the father's king passed away, Cyprian and himself, it's quite a long time. Some of you guys were not yet born, and some of the rituals that were performed at that particular time, it's different from what is happening actually today. So those are the determining factors that will actually try to fine-tune some of the rituals and so on. Maybe the family might say, look, we as the family at this point in time, in this particular area around Waketom Tandai or the whole of Zululand, this is what we are expecting to be performed. It will be passed down to the Izinduna of different Izikoti and clans, and therefore that gets performed. And therefore there is another role that I think will be played by the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. He has already declared that on Thursday there will be a service, and also there will be a 1 week mourning. Now, we don't know how will that be done. Maybe it will actually come from that particular meeting, which is going to be held today. So we are going to learn quite a lot of things. We, as most of the young people, mixed also at this particular age of technology and the time in which we are living. But the expectation is that when the king comes back from the hospital, what's going to happen? How is he going to be accepted now in the state of his father? That's the first question that is going to teach us. The second will be that now, what will be the process of the people? How will people be coming in to visit and come and see and also to mourn with the family? What sort of protocol will be followed? And which actually in other words, the house that will actually be handling that, and who are the key people who will be appointed to run the whole of that particular process. Now, the other final one will be now, the funeral itself. Will it be done by Izinduna or will it be done by Amabutho? You remember that particular video you played yesterday there in your news, where we saw Cyril Ramaphosa with his people, where they were actually going with Amabutho and the king and so on. Will we be having something of that sort? So these are all beautiful dynamics that we'll be learning, we'll be seeing, but I hope and trust that you as media guys, you will keep on communicating something that will have emanated from today's meeting.
Now, you speak about the use of technology and the different times that we're now living in. I also know, really, from the understanding that this announcement was not meant to have been done so, immediately. Because he was a king, there was supposed to be some sort of time period that needed to lapse before the actual announcement of his passing was made.
Yes, definitely. Not necessarily a time frame, but the protocol. If you realize the way it was handled, the manner it was handled, And even now, the person that is actually forward is Inkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi, of which I'm not surprised because he is the elderly now who is actually in the family. And also, there are older people. Yesterday, I saw Umntwana Wagwamenya, who is actually amongst the elders there. And those are the people who will actually be determining the way forward. So after he passed away, I think the family had to say who is the person who will actually go out, one, to the media, tell the nation at large, communicate with the government, and also put it in writing. We all saw the letter that was circulating coming from Inkosi Buthelezi, and then we said, yes, it is Buthelezi for sure who's actually going to do the whole thing. But I'm not guaranteeing that with effect from now, it will continue to be him. Maybe they will appoint someone else from a particular industry to say, you are the leader, you are actually doing that. There is also his brother, Mboniswa, who is actually another key person. Maybe it will be him who will be doing that, and so on. Even those, maybe. You see, the other thing here, Mpo, is that there are ordinary people who might like, key people in the community or society who might like to take some certain gifts there to say, this is what I want to present to the king. This is what I wanted to do, and whatever the case may be. Because he was not only the king of the Zulus, but he was the king of the many. He was the king of most of us in South Africa.
Now, before we let you go, Dr. Mkhize, we know that on the spiritual ancestral realm, there are also some expectations there onto how that part will be conducted. A praise singer also involved in that process. What are some of the likelihoods there?
Some of the likelihoods there we'll be seeing, yes, praise singers. We'll be seeing people narrating the history. We'll be seeing the slaughtering for sure. In our culture and tradition, umnumzane uphelezelwa ngenkabi kumbe ngenkunzi yenkomo. We will be seeing maybe different types of slaughtering those cows, maybe not through umkhonto or whatever, maybe inkomo ezobulawa yinsizwa kumbe amabutho ngezandla. I'm just thinking out of my head some of the things that are actually usually there. But there will be a lot of respect, and I think abantwana abasele, they will actually do everything to the need in order to show the nation, or maybe to show the generation that should in the future the next king maybe also passes away, this is what should actually be done.
Very well. Thank you so much for that insight, founder of Umsamo Institute, Dr. Velaphi Mkhize, giving us a sense of what the spiritual, ancestral and the processes, according to isiZulu tradition, might be throughout these few days.